To IDC for organizing this briefing. I appreciate being part of it, and I appreciate your giving sustained attention to the issue at hand. I'll be brief as well. In terms of the geopolitical ramifications of Turkey's persecution of Christians, I think that there are Turkey-specific ramifications, and then there are broader ramifications. In terms of Turkey-specific, the persecution of Christians will continue to embolden a process of homogenization in Turkey, religious and cultural homogenization in Turkey. And by that, I mean, as Andy pointed out earlier on, the Christians are the canary in the coal mine in Turkey, but the failure over the last near century of Turkish domestic policy to pay attention to what was happening to Christians has emboldened the Turkish state's behavior, both under secularist Kemalists and now Erdoganist Islamists, to target other vulnerable religious communities. That includes in particular the Jewish community in the last 15 years in particular, but more broadly. It also includes the Alawite community, and it also includes ethnic communities such as the Kurds, as well as Circassians and other. So it's a green light for homogenization writ large in Turkey. Also Turkey specific, the targeting of Christians and other vulnerable communities means that a broader decline in human rights, targeting against the LGBTQ community, an increase in femicide in Turkey, which has risen precipitously over the last 20 years, certainly in the last 5 years as well, the silencing of free speech, the state appropriation of media in an effort to control all speech and thought, the silencing of academics, of educators in general, the imprisonment of human rights advocates. So the geopolitical implications are for a move towards the consolidation of a nationalist autocratic Turkey, which is a danger for Turkey at home, and it's also a danger for regional and trans-regional stability. And the previous speakers have, I think, alluded to that, so I won't go into detail because I know the time is short. But I do want to also emphasize that the geopolitical ramifications extend to NATO more specifically. The ongoing shift towards hard authoritarianism, I would argue even a kind of Stalin-esque style totalitarianism in Turkey, undermine the legitimacy and the capacity of NATO. NATO that's meant to be a collective security alliance where members protect one another against external threats rather than Turkey threatening members inside NATO, but also delegitimizes NATO's claims to be a community of shared values, upholding democracy, human rights, principles of liberalism and human dignity. So there are broader geopolitical ramifications in that regard. And then more globally, the emboldening or the failure to prevent the ongoing trend lines with regard to persecution of Christians inside Turkey sends a signal to other violators, both state and non-state violators of human rights and religious freedom. And here I suggest, for example, the messages to, as Michael mentioned, to countries like Pakistan and others who use blasphemy laws, et cetera, to silence free speech in general, but certainly within and across faith communities. But I also signal here the whole ecosystem of jihadist groups very active in the Sahel and sub-Saharan Africa, and increasingly in East Africa, many of whom receive direct and indirect support from Turkey. So emboldening those kinds of behaviors inside Turkey has external consequences. There's a kind of demonstration effect, a multiplier effect, based on the fact that there appear to be no consequences. And then finally, just one footnote here. I think the geopolitical ramifications of Turkey's behavior vis-a-vis its Christian communities will lead to the broader weaponization of cultural heritage, both domestically and externally by countries that use cultural heritage as a soft power tool and a foreign policy tool. And we're already seeing that in terms of countries like China and others in the region as well. But I think that's something to pay attention to, the weaponization of cultural heritage. So thank you very much.